The 1960s, wow. Some good music coming out of there, but baby boomers, what did they do? Well, let's see, they created the 1960s, they went into the Epicurean 70s, then they went into the soulless 80s, then we got locked in wars throughout that time. It was the baby boomers who elected Reagan. They went from being, okay, it's cool if we're in free love and hippie stuff and all this stuff, and it's okay for us to smoke pot and use acid, but then we're going to create the war on drugs. And then to nowadays of where schools look like prisons. Now, they wouldn't tolerate that for themselves. They were all against that and free love, man. They scared a lot of kids with AIDS. Okay, the suburban kids from middle class families, let me tell you this, you're not going to get AIDS. You're not going to get AIDS. They tried to scare me with that bullshit too, and it worked for a decade, and then I'm just like, wait, all these countries that have had 95% of their population testing positive with AIDS for 20 years, they're not decimated, so I'm not going to believe that. Schools look like prisons. There's the war on drugs, which has failed. There's wars going all around the planet now that America's in. But in the 1960s, man, hey, let's call the troops baby killers. Now, if someone like me who said, yeah, we should never gone into Iraq, and we shouldn't be in Afghanistan. You're blah, blah, blah. Well, whatever. You have no morals. Really? Is that what you were saying in the 1960s? That somebody who says the stuff I do has no morals? So, free love, peace and love, and freedom, and free love, and drugs, to when they get power, the blind, soulless capitalism of the 80s, the fanatical Christianity of the late 90s, the war on drugs of the 80s, the turning schools into prisons starting around the mid-90s. Crazy infringements on freedom of speech. You only have one acceptable opinion that can be held in universities, or you can be shouted down. We should be able, I mean, even the Democrats are saying, hey, protesting is good and patriotic. When Bush was in office, now it's evil and hate-filled and bigoted and racist. A picture of George Bush looking like Hitler, that's patriotic. A picture of Obama looking like Hitler, that's evil and racist. The baby boomer generation is the most hypocritical, from both Republicans and Democrats. That's why I'm neither. If the 1940s was the greatest generation, or the World War II generation was the greatest generation, it probably was. The 60s generation of the baby boomers that were born in the late 40s, early 50s was the most detestable generation. And I love my parents, and I love many people from that generation, but they have no authority to speak about if my generation or the generations of my nephew and nieces are any good or not, because look what the hell they did. Blind capitalism in the 80s, vapid Epicureanism of the 70s, and the fundamentalist Christianity that rises in the late 90s. Oh, the good old days. Well, they're gone because of them.